Hello friends, this video on chemical coordination and integration part 4 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Now, depending upon where these glands secrete the substances, they are divided into two types: exocrine glands and endocrine glands. So they are the two types of glands. So when you talk about exocrine glands, the word exo means outside. As such, exo means outside. So these glands will secrete their products directly into the apical surface. So when I say apical surface, that means the surface of the cell. So that means they are directly secreting their products on the cell membrane surface, so that they are directly reaching the cell. So we are not dependent on anybody else to carry the secretion to different cells of the body. So we are actually throwing it on the membrane of the cell. Now, some of the examples of exocrine glands are the sweat glands, oil glands, salivary glands. So these are some examples of the exocrine glands. They are also known as the duct glands. What is the meaning of duct glands? Now, another interesting question that might arise in your mind, that okay, if these glands are directly going to produce their secretion onto the surface of the plasma membrane, now how will they reach the surface of the plasma membrane? Because inside our body there are so many different cells, right? Let us suppose that these are the various cells which are present inside our body. Let us suppose the gland, there is an exocrine gland, and that gland is located somewhere here. Let us suppose this is an exocrine gland. Now this gland is going to secrete something, and I say that it is not going to secrete it into the blood, but it is going to secrete it directly into the apical surface. So where is the apical surface? Now apical surface is nothing but that surface of the plasma membrane which faces the lumen. That means the inner surface of the plasma membrane. Now there has to be something which will connect this exocrine gland to the apical surface, and what is that? That is nothing but a tube-like structure which is known as duct. And through these duct, it will actually secrete the substances directly into the apical surface. Now, due to the presence of these ducts, they are also known as duct glands, because ducts connect them to the body surfaces. Now you can relate it with the sweat gland. So if you see, sweat is produced, the gland which actually produces sweat, that is, we cannot see that, right? That is not present on the surface of the skin. That is present deep inside our skin, but it is connected to the surface of the skin through the duct, and that is why we can see the secretion on the surface. So the sweat can be actually felt on the surface of our body. Similarly, the secretion of oil glands can be felt on the surface of our body. However, the glands are located deep inside. The same is true for the salivary glands as well. So all the duct glands, they will be located deep inside, but they are connected with the help of tube-like structures called ducts, and that is why their secretion can be felt on the body surfaces. So examples are sweat glands, salivary glands, as I said. So these are all examples of the exocrine glands. So in this picture, you can actually see it very clearly. So these are the glands. So this is where the glands are located, but then they are connected with the help of ducts, and that is why the secretion can be felt on the body surface. So these are the ducts. Similarly, if you look at the salivary glands, I mean, none of us, I'm sure, can feel the presence of the salivary glands from outside. So they are located deep inside our skin, but the saliva can always be felt inside the mouth. So here also, if you see, these are the three types of salivary glands: parotid, submandibular, and sublingual. So you can actually see the presence of the duct, and with this duct only the secretion is poured, or the secretion is produced on the surface. The next type of gland is the endocrine gland. So let us see what are endocrine glands. Now these are those type of glands which secrete their products directly into blood. That means they do not at all need a duct, because they can directly pour it into the blood. So they don't really care where that particular membrane is or where the apical surface is. Nothing matters, because blood is present everywhere in our body. So they will just secrete their products into the blood, and then it is the responsibility of the blood to carry the hormones, or to carry the chemicals, or carry whatever they secrete throughout the body. So that is why they are also known as ductless glands, because they do not have the ducts. So they are called ductless glands. So their connection lost with the body surfaces, so no ducts, they exist as isolated blocks of tissues. Very simple, right? It is quite logical also, because one set of glands, that is the exocrine glands, they want to secrete their products only on the body surfaces or only on the apical surfaces. So for that, they actually need something which will connect which will connect them to the body surface. For that, they had ducts. But in this case, they can secrete their products into the blood. So they don't need ducts. That is why they are ductless glands. So they do not have any ducts attached to them. So they are like a bundle of tissues. So it is like isolated bundle of tissues. So that is endocrine glands. Now some of the examples of endocrine glands are, you can see so many of them are present in the brain itself, like the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, which is also known as the master gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland. I think even though you have not heard about all these names, but at least you would have heard of the thyroid gland, because it is a very common name which you might have come across sometime. Okay, so now here we are, so this was a brief introduction to glands. Now we are going to talk about the endocrine glands in specific. So we are going to see how the endocrine glands produce hormones, how the hormones actually, there are many different endocrine glands present in the human body. So we want to see which gland produce what hormone and what role does that particular hormone play. So some of the examples, as I said, thyroid, pituitary, hypothalamus, pineal, they are examples of endocrine glands. So let us have a quick comparison of the endocrine versus exocrine glands. As I said, so let us quickly look at the comparison. So when you talk about endocrine glands, as I said, the ductless glands. So endo means inside. So they are present inside the body as isolated tubes, not connected to the surface. So that is why the name endocrine. Exo means outside, so they are connected to the body surface. That is why exocrine. So endocrine will secrete chemicals that will travel throughout the blood to specific target organs of the body. Whereas exocrine will secrete chemicals that travel through tubes to the target organs. Endocrine ductless, whereas exocrine ducts. Examples of endocrine would be pineal, thyroid, whereas examples of exocrine would be salivary and sweat glands. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.